Hey y'all, Lana's mom here, and we are on day 11. Can y'all believe I have made it through 11 days of finding ways to honor my daughter, Miss Alana Michelle? And I'm gonna be honest, this has not been easy. This has not been easy whatsoever, but it has taught me little things about myself and my healing journey. And it's easy to forget the happy moments in the midst of grief. So I'm just honored that I am able to turn this grief into purpose and my pain into a purse, as you guys seen. But for today, I have a little activity that we are going to be doing, but of course I cannot begin without giving you a backstory. So grab your tissues. You might see me cry, which is nothing new here. I'm starting to allow myself to become much more vulnerable than usual. A lot of the tears that you see me cry, especially behind the camera, that's never been me. I don't camera up and just decide that I'm going to cry my way into making the post. That's not me. That's not what I do. So these are genuine tears, and these are tears that I'm sure I have been withholding for whatever reason. But let's get into it. So I'm trying to figure out who to start with. So okay, I'm just going to be honoring Miss Alana. I am going to be honoring 3 other children who also were diagnosed with congenital heart diseases. And although they did not share the same diagnosis, shared a similar pain. And not only did these children share this similar pain, their parents also carried this similar pain that I had to, the opportunity to watch them carry in the midst of carrying my own. So I am going to start with the one that I met first. And it is no other than Mr. Ryder. Okay, so Ryder, I can't tell you that we've had numerous experiences, but what I can tell you is the experience that we did have is unforgettable. So it was a time in Alana's journey. It was early on in her journey. She wasn't even 1. So maybe like the first 2 or 3 surgeries that Alana was required to have after being diagnosed with TOF. And that is tetralogy of Fallot for short, for those of you who are unaware. That is Alana's original diagnosis before she experienced heart failure. So, Ryder. Living at CHLA, we had to move rooms constantly. And it was just by law. If you were in the hospital for more than a month, you cannot stay in that same room. So in order for us to continue on with her care, what they would do is they would assign us to a new room. And it came to a point where they assigned us to a new room. Now this room was in the back, is in the back corner of the CV acute unit on the 2nd floor. And for the most part, Alana and I did have single rooms. It wasn't too many times that Alana and I had to share a hospital room, but when we were assigned to a room where we had to share, it was this one experience where Alana met a boy. Okay, this wasn't the first boy, because a girl got the T on Lana. Okay, Lana was a sweet girl, and her energy was just, it was God-given. And because of that, it was a point where we temporarily shared a room with Ryder. Anna and Ryder had already declared their friendship, let's just say that, because Alana and Ryder would blow each other kisses back and forth. Now they were only maybe like, let's say 20 feet apart from each other, maybe 15 feet apart from each other. And, of course we had curtains to separate or give, allow us to have our own privacy. But when we would pull our curtains back during the day or whatever the case may be, all I remember is, and I'm sure his mother can tell you a better version of what took place, because again, I do struggle from short-term memory, so there's a lot of things that I can't remember, right now as I'm telling you the story. And unless she gives her version, I could vouch for, oh yeah, that did happen, yeah, but from what I remember is, I just remember them simply exchanging and blowing kisses. Now, it was so adorable, when they're young and innocent, it's all great and good. But as they grow older, you like, hold on now, slow down. You got too much dip on your chip, player. Don't be blowing kisses to my baby. I don't know you. I don't know your parents. You feel me? But because of that instances that took place, it happened more than once, because we shared. It's crazy. We got placed in that same room, I think twice. When she returned, and then maybe when I returned, but then it got to a point where we both had the opportunity to leave the hospital, so we were discharged from the hospital. But yeah, I just remember the smile that Ryder put on my daughter's face, and the smile that Alana had put on Ryder's face, because they were actually, mwah, mwah, blowing kisses to each other. And it was like the sweetest thing ever. And again, that was the conversation that initiated our friendship with Ryder's mom. Bree is a woman that I had the honor and pleasure of meeting, and she lived up north, so she would have to commute back and forth between Children's Hospital, and however that looked for her, or however that took place every time, her son needed immediate care, my heart went out to her, because I was only 20-30 minutes away, max from Alana, regardless if I was coming from her father's house or from my people's house. It was still within a 30-minute distance of commuting back and forth. So I did feel really bad for her, because it just seemed unfair that in order for her child to get care, she had to travel such far distance, and all I can think about what happens in the place of an emergency. And I'm grateful that I never had to think about that pertaining to Alana, because there's a lot of children who get flown in by helicopters in a time of an emergency, and some don't make it before they make it. Some don't make it. Ryder's mom, Miss Bree, became one of my biggest supporters, and I'm so grateful for her, because she actually was one of the first people to purchase a t-shirt from us, and it was one of the first t-shirts that I had absolutely nothing to do with. Now, it meant so much to me to know that somebody was walking around this earth with a photo of my daughter just because she wanted to. I didn't ask her to purchase a t-shirt. All I did was, I think he sent it to me, and I would just repost it in hopes of somebody to purchase a t-shirt to help raise funds, because again, I didn't think that Alana's surgeries were going to be covered, before I realized the insurance that I was able to receive for Alana. Because I had Medi-Cal for Alana, my social worker then set up and arranged me with some other insurance companies and programs that actually covered, let me tell you, covered. Now, do me a favor. I want you to Google a heart transplant procedure and find out how much one alone typically costs. And that's just the heart transplant alone. Alana had about 6 to 7 open heart surgeries prior to her heart transplant. And I can't even tell you, to this day, nothing is free. There's people in that hospital who are dying because they can't afford to live, like literally. So to know that Alana had all of these very extensive heart surgeries, and I didn't have to come out of pocket for anything, her father didn't have to come out of pocket for anything, that was nobody but God. It was literally nobody but God. But yes, do me a favor, Google how much a heart transplant procedure costs. And it's going to blow your mind. It's going to blow your mind. You're wrong. I did pay for it, but it was through pain and suffering. It wasn't financial, okay? So again, this is another reason why I am so adamant about relaying to you, God did. He can and he will, okay? So if you haven't received that message yet, I don't know. I'm gonna just keep giving you examples as to why. If you don't understand it from your own personal journey, feel free. Come over here. I'll tell you every reason why you should have a high and strong belief in God. Because he's capable of any and everything. Okay? But again, back to Miss Bree. She was one of the first people to purchase a t-shirt, and she actually recently just sent me a message. It was a photo of Ryder. Oh, I don't want to put too much. Okay, y'all. So I'm just give y'all the heartbreaking news so I can tell you what she sent me. Her son Ryder eventually ended up passing away, and I believe it was maybe about a year ago now. But yes, he unfortunately passed away. We are now hand in hand, and because of that, I keep her even closer to my heart and my soul, because again, we relate to the same pain as far as caring for a child with a heart disease and then seeing the end results of losing them. And I was very disheartened when I did receive the news. I cried because again, it's one thing for me to experience loss with my child, but it is another to witness the loss of a child who you not only had the opportunity to meet, but your child had the opportunity to meet and play with and engage with. So it did hit home. Oh my God, like this can't be real, bro. Like another one. But yeah. So fortunately, Ryder did pass away. It's not up to me to share how or why he passed away, but he did have a heart diagnosis as well. Like Ryder had to be around, Lana was 2. Ryder passed away when he was like 4 or 5, maybe. I could be wrong. I just want to extend my love and condolences to his family, and just always know that Ryder is always in my heart, and he's always in my mind, and I will always do my best to honor him as much as I honor my daughter. Again, Miss Bree just sent me a photo on Facebook a couple days ago of Ryder sleeping with the t-shirt that I just mentioned. She said that he loved the t-shirt so much that he would just sleep with it. And because of that, she did vacuum seal some of his belongings, and she included that t-shirt in his belongings. So I had to just step away and cry, because I didn't know the love ran that deep for my daughter. Like, just when I receive such news like that, it still surprises me, because again, I'm still stuck in the grief. And I know my daughter had a huge impact, but when I start to receive more news than imagined about how impactful this little girl was, it's disheartening, but also encouraging. And it keeps me going. It was one of the first boys to have a very memorable interaction with Miss Alana, and I miss them blowing kisses back and forth to each other. Although I was kind of, before I had met him, I was looking at him sideways, because he was a little older than Alana, so I feel like, you trying to take advantage of my daughter. Like, she just got here. What are you doing blowing kisses to her? And why are you so happy about that? Like, something? Because I don't know. Like, but I'm just playing. So, yes, that is the short and brief story about Mr. Ryder. May he rest in peace and play in heaven. I started crying today, so I worked up an appetite. I only eat once a day, so I had to eat something before I continue on with this story. Hey, Sprouts. Secondly, Alana had the opportunity to meet yet another boy, but this boy was much older than Alana. He when I met him, he had already had a heart transplant. I don't know how long at that time before I had met him that he received his heart transplant, but all I know is the impact that he had on Miss Alana. This is one that I can just never forget, and I pray to God it don't matter how old I get that I never forget this moment, because Antonio, his name is Antonio, and he actually reminds me of the little boy from Encanto, which was one of Alana's favorite movies. And prior to meeting Antonio, I had no clue. I had no clue that this little boy would make my daughter smile or freeze or become bashful the way that she did when she seen this boy. And looking back, it's like maybe they seen something in each other that was just indescribable. Pastor just gave a sermon last Sunday, and he spoke about, or the Sunday before, he spoke about how you just never know when you are in proximity of an angel. And I had already knew Alana was an angel. But Antonio, I believe he too was an angel. And when we met Antonio, I am going to place a video, of course, difference. But okay, so at this time, Alana was still on her mechanical device. She was still awaiting for a heart donor. And again, she was only able to be unplugged for 15 minutes a day. We only had access for 15 minutes a day. And we used to use our 15 minutes a day to walk down the halls as much as possible. And sometimes as Alana and I were walking down these halls, we would see other parents and see other children, and some would, speak and some wouldn't, or the door would be closed, or whatever the case may be. And mind you, it's COVID, so of course, we couldn't have any physical contact whatsoever with these kids or these parents, just for the safety of everybody involved. I remember walking down the hospital hall with Alana, and before I can even look up and see what she was smiling at, I was paying attention to Alana, because I'm like, why did you just stop in your footsteps and pause like that? Like, are you good? Are you okay? But once I realized what was taking place, it was a little boy who was peeking his head out of his door. I don't know why he was there, but he was there alone at this time. At the time, his parents had, I guess, just maybe walked away or went to, whatever, to take care of their business. So he was in the room by himself. And I'm sure it was just, to occupy his time. And I can imagine being in the hospital room at his age. He would have to be around like 10, 11. Just trying to find ways to occupy his time while his parents were away. So I remember walking down the hall, I seen Alana stop in her footsteps, and I'm thinking to myself, like, what's wrong, baby? Like, what's up? So you can see as I'm recording, she stops and she becomes extremely bashful. And I'm like, Alana's bashful, but she's not this bashful. I've just never seen her become so bashful around a boy. Like Ryder, she wasn't even that bashful. Obviously, she was blowing that boy kisses. But this one made her stop in her footsteps because I don't know, maybe he was because he was a little older. Maybe she recognized him from Encanto. I don't know. Maybe she thought it was. What's his name? Antonio. His name is Antonio, actually, from Encanto. I'll just share the video with you guys. It was a sweet interaction. And you could just tell that Alana was acting shy, because don't let Alana fool you. Alana was not shy. Alana was very outgoing. Prior to me finding Antonio's parents, I had made a video asking and seeking if anybody, may have known this boy, because there was a time where I genuinely could not get this boy off of my heart. Even after Alana's passing, I couldn't get him off of my heart, and I just wanted to know and make sure that he was okay. And come to find out, we did find Antonio and his parents, but their parents had relayed the news to me that Antonio did pass away. I cried so hard. And I'm trying not to cry right now because how and why is all I can think about. He looked so healthy. He looked amazing. And a little boy that I see in the photographs, that his mother continues to post on TikTok, he looked nothing like what I seen. The little boy that I had that experience with, he was angelic. He was kind. He was sweet. He looked normal. He looked healthy. And to know that eventually he passed away, bro, that broke my heart so much. Like, it broke my heart, bro. Hey TikTok, so I need your help. I've seen a lot of videos where someone would post someone in public or wherever they may be, and they'll be like, TikTok, do your thing. That's what I'm here for, but I'm not here looking for a man. I am seeking out to someone who I had the honor and pleasure of meeting while my daughter and I were living in the hospital. And I just came upon, well, I didn't come upon, because I've carried these letters with me that was written to my daughter in the midst of our journey. And it was just one day we were walking down the halls on our usual routine walk, and we bypassed this little boy, and she became so bashful. And Alana's not a bashful person, but it was something about this boy that, made her feel however she felt in that moment. And since that day, he began writing my daughter letters, and I still have those letters. So I want to read those to you all, so before I play the video, you can understand what's happening. So the first letter that he sent over was, I have a heart transplant too. I want you to know, good luck, from room 234. Have a good day, from Antonio Barrio. I hope I'm saying it right, Antonio B. But this is the first letter that he wrote, and this was while we were on the second floor of CBQ at Children's Hospital some years back. And the second one he sent over was, I hope you're doing okay, good luck, I hope you succeed one day, you should come over to my room. And then he wrote the room number, and he also drew a photo, which happens to be of Alana, even though she bald headed. It's okay, it's about that counts. And then it says, have a good day, from Antonio, I hope we meet in the future. And the last one reads, today is my last day here at the hospital, good luck, goodbye, I hope we meet in the future, goodbye. I walk around with these letters on a daily. I keep them here in my folder. I work Monday through Friday, and I journal a lot, so these have been a part of me since the passing of my daughter. And I just want to know that Antonio is okay, because he, again, like he mentioned, he too was a heart transplant recipient, and due to my experience of seeing Alana endure and suffer from rejection, I think about him often, and I just want to know that he's okay, because I told myself I was going to be one of those people that cry on the internet, but this is very touching for me, because I think about him all the time and the impact he had on my daughter, and you guys will get to see that in the video. But TikTok, please do your thing. I hope that I'm not overstepping any boundaries as far as releasing his name, but that will be the only way that I can seek and find him. And if this reaches his parents, I constantly pray for you, although I've never met you. I constantly pray for you and your family, and I just pray that Antonio is doing better than what I can even imagine, because I know the struggle of what it's like to care for a child who has to depend on a heart transplant. So yeah, TikTok do your thing, and please enjoy the video. I'm sorry for getting emotional, but Antonio, I'm thinking of you. I love you. You're my dog, and I hope all is well. Hi. Look, Mama. Say hi.
Hi, people. Say hi, hello. Oh,
It's a boy, that's why.
She's too young for this. Say hi.
Thanks to each
Where'd he
other.
go? Do you see him, Mama? Where'd he go?
Say hi, Mama.
Yeah, you probably had that when you were little too.
Look, she's curious.
Yeah.
Say hi. You blow a kiss?
Say hi.
Give a kiss.
Good
Aww. Can you tell him you're...
Lana, you got a love letter. From the boy next door. He needed you these. Lana. Is that what you think of his love letter? I don't even know. He wrote you a letter. What do you think of it? Lana, what do you think? What do you think of his love letter?
Hey guys, Alana's mom here. So I'm here to just give you a quick update on the boy that captured the heart of not just my daughter, but my very own and many nurses at CHLA during our stay. It's unfortunate that I do have to bring saddening news to the forefront. It has been confirmed by both mom and dad that Antonio did pass away as of last year, and this is so heartbreaking to know, because it's not the news that I'm sure any of us expected in the search of Antonio. That was the last thing that I was hoping to happen, and because it has happened, I want to take the opportunity to share a post that has been posted by his mom on her TikTok page to shine light on Antonio, to also give grace and shower the mother and the father with love, the same love that you guys have poured upon me. I'm just asking you to pour upon them as well, because it's not easy. It's not easy, and I can only imagine the pain and the sorrow that is taking place even as we speak. So yes, I apologize for having to bring some bad news to the forefront, but we did find Antonio, and I know mom and I are supposed to link up at some point, and I'm sure conversations will be had, and I will get to know so much more about Antonio. But until then, y'all, please go show my girl some love. Please. And if you've seen the video, you now know for sure that they have met again. May Alana and Antonio play in heaven for eternity, and I hope that this video and the love that is being transferred over to mom and Antonio's family is even the slightest bit of help or inspiration to just want to keep pushing forward, because girl, trust me, I know. But let's get into the video. That's just what it is. Rest in peace, Antonio. Rest in peace, Alana. Shout out to the parents, and God bless.
Why'd you have to leave so soon? Why'd you have to go? Why'd you have to leave me when I needed you the most? 'Cause I don't really know how to tell you without feeling much worse. I know you're in a place, but it's always gonna hurt. So carry on. Give me all the strength I need to carry on. It's been a long day without you, my friend. And I tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I tell you all about it when I see.
So, it's crazy. It's crazy the experience I had with Alana, and just knowing that, you know, we're looking at these kids as kids, you know, most of the time, but a lot of them a lot of them are angels in human form. And unless you have that discernment or the knowledge or, you know, that relationship with God, I feel like sometimes, again, that goes back to the sermon that my pastor was preaching. You just never know when you are in the proximity of an angel. And Alana was definitely an angel. So God aligned that moment, that very special moment, and like, I just couldn't wrap my mind around it, because again, not only did I lose Alana, but I'm watching the parents that I met, some of these parents that I met in the midst of this journey, lose their child. I'm carrying a lot of pain with the loss of Alana, but what you guys don't know is I'm also carrying the pain of other children that Alana had the opportunity to meet, or I had the opportunity to meet, who has also lost their lives. And this is why I want to give back, because when your child is diagnosed with a heart disease, again, there is no cure. We are dependent on God, science, medication, and prayer. Those are the only things that can carry your child through a significant heart diagnosis. Now, I'm not saying everybody's the same. I don't know. Just from my experience and the experience that I had, the experience that I witnessed, and the different diagnoses that I had the chance to witness, some kids do make it out. They live to live a long life, a long time. But again, that comes with sacrifices, that comes with science, that comes with medication, that comes with numerous amount of surgeries, you know? So to know that this little boy had the opportunity to become a heart transplant, receive the heart, and then eventually transitioning after that, it is extremely heartbreaking. Just very painful to know that there's no way out of this. When you have a child and that child is diagnosed with a significant heart disease, it doesn't matter how long that child's life is prolonged, there is no cure. There is no cure. Now, we've seen people with cancer, you know, become cured and live a long life. You don't see people with heart diagnosis become certainly cured and live a long life. That's just not how it works. He has had his transplant for over 25 years. And he makes a post just about every day when he can about how hard it is to endure. This man is constantly in dialysis. He's constantly back and forth in the hospital. He's constantly on medications. He's just constantly, it's constant. It's just being pertaining to the heart is constant. There's no breaks. You know, it's not a straight walk. You don't just get to take a Advil and it's suddenly gone. That's not how this works. So it's very disheartening to know that I am not the only one who's enduring and watching, you know, their child not only suffer in the midst of this, but they don't make it out. So that's where I'm not gonna say conflict with God is. It's just like, why would you allow a child to suffer so much knowing that they're just going to transition? That used to be my question, and I'm not gonna lie, it still lingers in the back of my mind. It hurts to know that Alana went through all of that suffering just to transition. You know, like, it hurt. That wasn't easy, watching my daughter suffer on a day-to-day. It was not easy whatsoever. I would much rather had it been me. I would much rather had it been me. Condolences to Antonio and his family and his siblings. And may he rest and play in peace. And now I know that he, Alana, and Ryder are hand in hand, and they probably up there fighting over my baby. Talking about, I thought that kiss was for me. Now, last but not least, I had the opportunity to not only meet this little girl, but I had the opportunity to develop a friendship with her mother. And that friendship has turned into a sisterhood, because before I get into that, no, actually, let me get into that first, because that's actually what took place. So, Jasmine, her name is Jasmine, one of the sweetest girls I know. Crazy, but sweet. I love her. You gotta love her. You gotta love Jazz. And if you don't love her, just pray for her, because Jazz can be a handful when she wants to be, okay? But for good reasons. So I met Jasmine through another parent that I had met in the midst of that journey, Leah. Jasmine ended up staying in the Ronald McDonald because she would have to commute from Bakersfield to LA to, receive the proper care that her daughter may need it. So when Jasmine would come down, she and I just eventually started to click. We developed a relationship, and we developed a friendship. And again, this was, all through COVID. So we would see, prior to meeting, we would see each other walk down the hospital halls, but I don't think neither of us had the intentions of even, getting to know each other, let alone creating a friendship and, pushing that further along for us to become sisters. That's really my little sis right there. Jasmine made sure that I was straight, and I made sure Jasmine was straight in any way possible. So I will always love her for that, because again, staying at the Ronald McDonald was not easy. And I don't know if it was early on, because I had got kicked out the Ronald McDonald. Alana and I had, unfortunately, we had COVID at one point, and they kicked me out the hospital. And I was so embarrassed. I was so ashamed, because I'm like, not at the hospital. They kicked me out of Ronald McDonald. Because I was like, that's it? Y'all just gonna put me out? Like, I have nowhere to go. So again, I ended up back in my car and sleeping in the car and sleeping in the hospital room with Alana. So in the midst of that, again, Jasmine was still at the Ronald McDonald, so I would go to the Ronald McDonald, but I would have to sit outside, because I couldn't, obviously I got kicked out. So when we would hang out outside of the Ronald McDonald, and it would be like maybe four other moms with us that would just hang out, when we needed time away from our kids. Again, we were never too far from the hospital. We weren't hanging out, an hour away or 30 minutes away. The only hanging out we would do is literally right across the street from the hospital, just in case any one of us received that call, stating, hey, we need you. So, yeah, and it wasn't an easy experience for Jasmine at the Ronald McDonald. She experienced some discrimination, as well as a couple other mothers, as well as we all honestly experienced some discrimination and just some very disrespectful moments that I feel shouldn't take place, especially in a time where our children are our children are fighting, our children is in need, and the last thing that we need as parents who are going through this is unnecessary comments or concerns or drama or whatever the case may be. Like, it was I ain't gonna hold you. I don't know if the same people that still work there today, But there was a lot of favoritism, and we do feel like we were discriminated against, because as Black women, you just know discrimination when you see it. But anyway, so before Alana and Mai had the opportunity to officially meet, Jasmine and I had already established a friendship. So it came to a point to where after Alana received her heart transplant, we were walking down we were getting ready to take a walk, and Jasmine and Mai were actually, they just came from the playroom, and the child coordinator had a box filled with like teacups, and she had a box filled with teacups and tea plates and stuff like that Mai, I guess had just used in the midst of her time being in the playroom. So as they were walking down the hall, they ended up stopping because Alana's TV was still on, but we were getting ready to go for a walk. So we met each other at the door, but Mai had got distracted by the TV show, whatever TV show Alana was watching at the time. Mai had stopped and paused and froze, and so in the midst of that, you can hear Jasmine asking Mai to offer Alana some tea, because she knew my baby was looking thirsty. Obviously, Alana wanted a cup of tea. Give my baby a cup of tea. And you could just see it on Mai's face. She's like, you give her some tea. Like, I'm not giving her none of my tea. You get your own tea and give it to Alana. I don't know her. She's trying to make a friend. So they started playing together. They shared the interaction or whatever. I won't go too long about that because it's self-explanatory. I have the video to show you. I just remember in that moment, time they had officially met each other. It was so, for me at least, my heart was happy. My heart was smiling. I was smiling. Because again, Alana didn't have the opportunity to play with any kids her age, whatsoever. Again, this is all taking place during COVID. So Alana had a lot of restrictions, as well as the other kids who were in there. They were restricted from engaging and playing, and even the parents, we couldn't go in each other's rooms and do none of that. We have to constantly wear face masks, and it just felt so inhumane, especially when Alana and I had COVID. I remember they locked us in a room. Like, we could not leave the room whatsoever. It just felt so inhumane. And then they would come in there with these suits. They looked like astronauts. It made me cry one day because I had to tell the nurse, like, this doesn't feel good. This does not feel good. You guys are treating us as if we have COVID, but you're treating it as if we're literally contaminated with like you gonna turn into a zombie or something. Yes, I get it was such a big thing and people were losing their lives behind it, but golly, you have to come in here in an astronaut hat and a bodysuit, my nigga. Be for real. Like, that made me feel so bad. Like, it was so inhumane, bro. It just did not make any sense to me whatsoever. So after that first interaction, it is the second day that Alana and Mai had the opportunity to engage once more in that same hallway. And by them meeting prior to that day, you could tell Mai had officially, like, finally warmed up to Alana, because Mai had initiated tag, and Alana didn't know what tag was. So Mai tags Alana, and Mai runs to her mom, and Alana, like, looking around, looking like, okay, like, why you just tag me and you run back to your mom, like, like, what are we doing here? What is this? So you can hear Jasmine say, like, Alana don't know what tag is. So they were engaging. Mai started playing tag with Alana unknowingly. Alana didn't know what tag was. She was just playing. She was doing her own thing. I think Alana was just happy to be there and to have a friend. That's what I received from it. Because eventually grabbed the concept of tag, because Mai kept tagging her and running away from her, and vice versa. I think at one point, the nurses had gave Alana and My some stickers, but My had gangster. My so player. She came and got the stickers from my daughter and ran away. So here comes Lana trying to chase My to get her stickers back. But the whole time, I don't feel like Lana even wanted the stickers. Alana was just happy to be playing with My. She was just happy to be running around in here. But I remember them knocking on because Alana knew where the playroom was. She knew what door to walk to and everything. She didn't play about that playroom. She loved that playroom, and so did My. But Alana spent more time in that hospital, than My did. So Alana was much more familiar with the child coordinators and that particular door and where to go into as far as where the playroom was. So Alana had walked to the door, and it was occupied, obviously. So My followed Alana, and then they both started knocking on the door, just for fun, for plays, and for giggles. I think one of the child care coordinators did eventually end up opening the door, but she didn't fully open the door because, again, it was occupied with somebody else's child, and it was COVID. You can't come in contact. So I just remember that moment taking place, and the 2 days that Alana did have the opportunity to play with Miss My has always stayed with me. It became such a sentimental moment to me, so much so okay, before I tell you this, again, I'm so sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but My eventually ended up passing away. But prior to My's passing, I just want to mention this because Alana passed away before My did. My lived some months after Alana's passing, and while My was fighting for her life, Jasmine still showed up to Alana's funeral. This is why I love this girl, because she not only came down from Bakersfield to get the proper help from her daughter, but she was so determined not to miss Alana's burial. And although that was, I'm sure, such a hard decision to make, it seemed so easy for her, though, because I said, Jasmine, you sure? You don't have to be there. Your absence is acceptable. I completely understand. And thinking to myself, girl, if you don't get your ass back to the hospital, Alana's gone, okay? We buried her already. Go check on your baby. I was very adamant about that because, yes, I thank you for your support, but when you have a child with a heart diagnosis, anything is unpredictable at any time. And I was just grateful that Jasmine even had the will and the urge and a want to show up for me in such a hard time, not just for me, but for her as well. So unfortunately, My did end up transitioning. And I just hated to see Jasmine go through that as well. Again, it's one thing for me to endure a loss and pain and suffering, but when you see people you love endure a similar loss, it hurts. It hurts 10 times as more as your original loss, because it's I know that God put this on me. At least this is what I was thinking, obviously, because she was strong enough. God knew, this was already written. But in my mind, I'm like, God, I know you wouldn't put more on me than I can bear. I know I can bear this. But there's times where I feel like, some people don't make it through the grief and the loss and stuff like that. I'm not saying that she didn't, because she did. She has. She eventually ended up having another baby, not too shortly after, which I'm so happy for her. But before I do so, I do want to share a scripture with you, and I'm from Matthew 19, verse 13 and 14. And again, I am here with the Living Word translation, because it's much easier for me to retain and understand exact scripture that I had placed on Alana's burial, because it is a simple reminder that before I had discovered this scripture, I had always had a little bit of animosity. I had a little bit of animosity, I ain't gonna lie, towards the Lord as to why, and you know, when he would take someone's child, let alone my own, because I had always, even prior to having Alana, I had a fear of losing my child. And now that I look back, I don't feel like that fear was placed within me for no reason. And I faced one of my biggest fears today, which has also ultimately determined how I choose to live the rest of my life. So I just want to share this with you guys, to anyone who has lost a child, to anyone who's grieving a child. It's stating basically how Jesus blesses the children. And it reads, some parents brought their children to Jesus so he could lay his hands on them and pray for them. But the disciples scolded the parents for bothering him. But Jesus said, let the children come to me. Do not stop them. The kingdom of heaven belongs to those who are like these children. And he places his hands on their heads and blessed them before he left. And what I received from that is, for when he says, for two such belongs to the kingdom of heaven, that means his children belong to him. And he has the will and the authority to take them anytime he wants. Death does not have an age requirement. I genuinely believe that we all have an assignment, but when it comes to these kids and these children that God bless us with, they have a higher and bigger assignment. Just from my experience, it was bigger than what I can even imagine. And I say that because even after her passing, her assignment is still aligning me and placing me in positions to share her story. So when I share this story, I want the parents to understand, oh, we are mourning our children. They still belong to him. They are with him. They are safe, and they are no longer suffering because they belong to him. And he says, do not hinder them. And I decided not to hinder Alana. I knew when it was time to allow my daughter to transition, because I took it up. I not only took it up with God, but the physical signs were there. And I had a discussion with I briefly talked to my pastor. Before I had even made that decision, I had called my pastor and I said, Pastor, can you pray? I need you to come up here and pray for my daughter. He said yes. But before he said yes, he said he was literally looking at his phone. He was looking at a picture of my daughter on his phone. And for whatever reason, God had laid it on his heart to do so. To me, that was not a coincidence. And to make the story short, he eventually came to the hospital to pray over Alana. But he relayed to me. He said, you thought I was coming up here to pray for Alana, but I came up here to pray for you. And I didn't understand that then and there until he left. And I started thinking about it, because he had mentioned, he didn't say, it was over, but he did mention that I will have more kids. I will have more children. And when I look back, I felt like God was using him to prepare me for what needed to take place, not what I wanted to take place, because I had him, when I initially asked him to come pray for Alana, I was expecting a miracle. But God had sent that man up there to pray for me, because Alana was already taken care of. And I didn't want to be that hindrance. I didn't want to not abide by his rules. I did not want to abide by his word. He says, do not hinder my children, for two such belongs to the kingdom of heaven. Alana belonged to the kingdom of heaven before I even knew she was going to transition there. And again, God used my pastor to confirm, to be that confirmation of me making that decision that he already laid on my heart to make, which was to allow Alana to transition. And again, this is why this is so important to have that relationship with the Lord, because when it comes to your child, you don't want to miss out on that opportunity. God gave me the opportunity to allow her to transition in my arms, to allow our last goodbye to be such a memorable moment. It wasn't tragic. We arranged everything. We said everything. We put everything in place. My pastor was in there with me, him and I. It was, again, that's a story that I'll touch on later, because that's another story that deserves its own video. But yeah, if you are going through a tough time and your child is in a position to where you might feel you don't want to let go, but God is telling you to let go. And if you don't let go when God tells you to let go, he's going to take matters into his own hands. And I'm not God, so I can't say how it would take place, but you just don't want to be placed in a position to where you are unable to have that final goodbye. I've watched parents come into that hospital room and suddenly their child is gone. They're screaming and crying, they're sobbing because it just happened so suddenly. And I don't know their story, but in my mind, from my experience, that could have been me. You know, it could have been much more tragic than what it was. But no, I felt like God sent me on an assignment, my best to fulfill this God-given assignment. So I have 4 balloons. And although these are not biodegradable, I don't think they are. I apologize in advance. Start off with Mr. Ryder. Mr. Ryder, Miss Bree, we love you. We thank you for your endless amount of love and support. And we are continuously praying for your comfort as you are grieving Mr. Ryder. So Ryder, this is for you and only you. Next, we have Mr. Antonio. Antonio, I will never forget the way you made my daughter smile, the way you made her stop in her tracks, the way you made her blush, those letters you sent, and the people you impacted during your stay at Children's Hospital. We love you. To your parents, we love you as well. We're continuously praying for you, for your continual strength, that God gives you the ability to not only carry, but to give birth to a healthy, beautiful child. So we love you and we thank you for your continual support. And Antonio, it's for you, my boy. That one kind of went left, so you can't really see it. Let me see. And last but not least, Miss My Mind. So I think I'm just going to tie these two together in honor of Miss Alana and Miss My Mind. I love you both. I miss you both. And I will forever carry those sweet memories. The tea party, the short tea party, the quick game of tag, and My Mind robbing my daughter for her stickers. Jasmine, bro, I love you. I miss you. I constantly pray for you. I cannot wait to see you again. I cannot wait to meet your new daughter. And bro, just thank you for everything that you've done. Every time you had my back, every time I was walking those hospital halls and I couldn't check on my daughter, or every time I was in my car, every time I was at the Ronald McDonald trying to get some rest, you showed up, you checked in, and I would do it for you all over again. I would do it for you all over again. I'm just so grateful to experience you and your daughter, and I'm sorry that we can relate to such pain, but between you and the other moms, you and I have a closer bond just off of the strength of us experiencing a similar experience, and not only that, but walking hand in hand with each other when we didn't have to. But you see something in me that made you stick around, and I see something in you that was God profound. I got bars, huh? No, but my and Miss Alana, we love you, we miss you, and I just hope that one day your mother and I are invited to that tea party y'all having up in heaven, because I know y'all having one. And my you better not be giving my daughter the look. You better be up there sharing that tea. I bet y'all better not hear nothing talking about you was acting stingy with the teacups. All right? All right. So again, thank you guys for spending day 11 with me as I find ways to honor my late daughter, Miss Alana Michelle. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Okay, they went in the tree. They don't want to go. They don't want to go home yet. They went in the tree. So you know what? They stubborn. They are. They stubborn. Girl, look. I don't want to leave.
You gotta talk to them like
But I
they're
gotta
ready.
go,
Get your ass out the
I
tree.
know.
Did I tell you stop playing? You play too
I
much.
don't know. I'm not gonna climb no tree and get the balloons. Y'all get the message. Y'all got the point, and we did it. We did it. We made it through yet another day, and I'm grateful for the experience. I'm grateful for the support, the love, and everything else above. So I'm gonna finish the rest of my sandwich, and I will see y'all on day 12. Bye.